All right, everybody. Welcome to the newest episode of the Weapon H All-in-One podcast. Today, I got a special guest, my man Antoine Mason, checking in with us live today. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everything?
Oh, man, everything's going pretty smooth, man. All right, to give you guys a quick introduction to Antoine, went to college at Niagara. He started out there, and one of his seasons, he actually was second in the nation in scoring, averaging 25.6 points a game. Then he ended up transferring to Auburn, where he finished out his career being a 2,000-point scorer. After that, he went to Cyprus, Canada, spent some time in China, Spain, then Jordan. So to get you started, you had quite the journey for your basketball career. So you were second in scoring in Niagara, transferred to Auburn, had success there, finishing with 2,000 points. Something only a few of us can, say that we've done. I can,
Yeah.
and I can, I can ride a little bit with that one. and
Yeah.
and even after such a good career, you ended up not being drafted. So, what were the more difficult things to manage for you breaking into the professional ranks?
Well, my senior year, losing my dad, that threw me off. Kind of made me lose the love of the game because that was our special bond, and it took me a while to really get back to myself, feeling good, and just finding the love for it for myself. Like I always played for myself, but losing that important figure, that role model that you looked up to, that you wanted to be, it just took me, probably a year or so to get back into really falling in love with the game, falling in love with the details, the grind, and everything like that. So once I was able to do that, put in the hard work and grind it out, the talent and everything start going together, and I start making an impact in my professional career.
Yeah, having to deal with his death, I know it had to be hard because he was like a brother to me, as you know. That's why you're at the point where you're like my nephew.
Yeah.
How did you? You told me you was able to get it, but how did you end up coping? Were you able to deal with that?
Uh, Ironically, just putting myself into the gym, grinding it out myself, and he was there with me. I felt his spirit with me. I could hear him saying certain things to me. And I remember one day, like specifically, I was working out and I could just picture him guarding me, telling me what to do and everything. Like it was like a surreal moment. And it was just me. And I felt like it was me and him, like how we always worked out. And I felt like I could do it. Like after that, I was like, you know what? I could do this. Like I know he'll be there with me through my journey, like he always been.
Let's believe hear that voice, that gruff voice back. Pull up on a jump shot.
Yep.
So I definitely know. All right, now we're gonna touch on it a little bit in case you guys didn't know. Antoine's dad is Anthony Mason, the former Knick great. Speaking about your dad, how is it like having to deal with having such a famous dad, trying to pave your own way, but still paying homage to what he gave you and to who he was?
Yeah. Like all my life, I wanted to be Antoine Mason, the son of Anthony Mason, and not Anthony Mason's son, Antoine Mason. Like I wanted to have that name for myself. So obviously, I honor him all the time by wearing number 14. But I always told him, I said, I want to be better than you. He was like, you got some shoes to fill, man. So like,
Yes.
I always, always push myself to that limit. And by honoring him, I felt like being my own person, having people come up to him like, your son is good, your son is this, your son is that, instead of be like, oh, okay, that's your son. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I noticed because he wore 14, instead of seeing them like, all right, he's really, doing what he's supposed to do. And oh yeah, that's his son. So for me, it was just finding my own path, finding my own way of figuring out the game, and then obviously using him as a reference and asking him for advice, and just molding my own game. Like I obviously watched him, I watched certain players, and just built my own game around it, and just, went from there. And, I could tell that he was happy with it because, he'll say proudly with his chest, yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's a scorer. Yeah, all that. So, so, and he was one of those that keep it real. If I had a bad game, oh, you play terrible and cursed me out and what the F was that and all that. So, it was a lot more positives than the negatives. So I knew, all right, I'm doing something right because he was one of my hardest critics. Even my mom, she would tell me, if I had a bad game. I remember in 8th grade, random day, she was coming from work and she calls me and I was like, oh, hey, mom, like, how was work? And she didn't say hello or anything. She was just simply, you know what? You suck. And I was on the phone like, I was on the phone like, wait, I'm not playing. What are you talking? She was like, yeah, you're not playing hard. You're not doing this. And like, had a heart to heart with me. And then what really threw me off was like, she was like, yeah, your grandma thinks the same. I was like, oh, no, not granny. Not
Oh
granny. So I was
man.
like, yeah, I gotta
Wow.
get in the gym. I gotta do everything. So they were both tough on me, but I love that about them. They were 100% honest, and I needed it.
Man, I can attest to that because me and your dad went at many a day. You can't
Yeah,
do nothing today, huh? I thought you was a shooter. You scored. You scored one day, and yeah. So we always.
yeah,
I said, well, you need to play some defense because your man just scored 20. So we always there, but that was my guy.
yeah.
So as you started going, your career started taking off. You were tearing up the summer leagues. You end up going to Cyprus, went to Canada, Spain, Jordan, like I said, and then once you got to Jordan, you suffered an Achilles tear, which shortened your season. Then came
Mhm.
the recovery process. How did you handle that long road coming back to recovery?
My whole mindset was like, all right, it was tough because when it happened, I was like, it's at least 6 months. Like I never not played basketball for more than like a week, like tops. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? So the main thing was, all right, I'm not getting out of shape because I hate coming back in shape. Your back start getting tight, things like everything start aching. So I was like, all right, once I'm cleared or whatever, I'm getting right to it. And it's right after the surgery when I was cleared to go home. I was doing sit-ups, I was doing one leg push-ups, everything. And my teammate, he stayed with me because my coach wanted him to like help me around. And he was like, bro, you're crazy. You just had surgery. What are you doing? You working harder than me. I was like, I refuse to get out of shape. And my whole mindset is I'm gonna be better than I was, when I got out there because I knew certain things that I needed to work on and, as a basketball player, you need to work on certain things, but you might not have that time. It sounds weird, but you might not have that time because now you're jumping into a season or whatever, and you can't work on your weaknesses because playing overseas, they expect you to play at a high level. So you have to stick to your strengths. You have to do certain things. So I was like, all right, coming from this, I could work, like I wrote things down. All right, I could work on my jump shot, being consistent on that, ball handling this, watching more film and everything. It gave me more time to like really study certain things that I wanted to and had the time to do it. I was at the house on crutches, flicking the ball, doing this, doing that. Yeah, just staying busy. And I had a total gym that I was working out on. And like my mom
Man,
would like she would see me come downstairs like you're working out like what are you doing. I was like I no I have to like my mindset especially finishing that season until that season ended. My mindset was I'm still in season. I'm still in season because I didn't want to get lazy. I didn't want to start thinking about the negatives of being hurt or whatever. So I made it into a competition. Like I'm gonna be better than I was when I got hurt.
man, that would drive me insane having to sit out that long. So I definitely commend you for
Yeah.
being able to stick to it, keep yourself busy and try your best to keep yourself in shape as best as you could. But
Hmm.
tell me about your experience playing out of the country. Since you've been to a few places now, you got a little bit of a resume and you built up a little experience. How was the experience for you?
different countries are you have different experiences, but I love that about going to different cultures. Obviously the goal is to play in the NBA, still is, but going to different places and seeing like things that you read in books and stuff, like going to China and being able to walk in a Great Wall of China is like, I only just, read books about it and I wasn't planning on going. And then when I'm in China and I actually able to go, it took me like, as I'm walking, I was like, wow, I'm really walking the Great Wall of China. Like, I'm from New York. Like, how did I get my way all the way to here? And then going to Spain, even though it was during like COVID, seeing that culture and learning different things, learning how they do things. For one, when I was in Spain, lunch, they shouldn't call it lunch. They should call it a whole event because I'm thinking, all right, an hour or two. No, we ate, and all of a sudden they wanted to go to a bar, then they wanted to go somewhere else. I'm like, this is a whole thing. Like, I'm thinking, all right, we got to eat, blah, 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 go home. No, that lasted like 6 hours. I was like, nah, no way. So
Absolutely.
Cyprus was my first, professional career, starting career, and I learned from the vets there and got to see the Greek side of Cyprus and learn their culture, and Canada, more like the States, but also fun. So like I enjoyed everywhere I went. Even played in Malaysia for a tournament with a G League team, and that was a fun experience as well. So yeah, I'm blessed to be able to travel and see things that people haven't seen.
So wow, that's funny because when I first went overseas, my initial thing was just to improve my game, to get my shot to get back into the league. That was my
Mm-hmm.
focus. And as time built on, see, you actually a little bit ahead of me as far as appreciating where you were. Because see, my first couple of years, I really didn't appreciate it. And I just was so focused on trying to get back into the league. I was just like, yo, I gotta work here. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And I didn't even see what I was actually doing. So that was my next. So you actually kind of answered the question, like you actually appreciated being there. And what did you think of your accomplishments? Or did you look at them as an accomplishment or just something that's like, I got to get done to get to this next step?
I gotta get it done to get to the next step. Um, like you said, I think the reason I learned to appreciate it, because going to Cyprus, going to different places, my mindset is like, all right, this is just a building block to get where I need to go. But like I said, I started talking to the vets, and they they had a shot at the league. They played a little bit in the league when I was in Cyprus, and then like he was, I forgot how long he was playing. Like it might have been his 16th seat, something. Like he was there for, like, he's been playing for a while, and he was like, "You got to appreciate this young fella. You got to appreciate everywhere you go." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Don't take it for granted. Like a lot of people, their careers end in college, all that." And he said, "You're still able to do what you need to do. Obviously, you want to go where you need to go, but appreciate it while you're here, young fella. Appreciate it." That's how he used to talk.
Perfect,
So
perfect, perfect. Because I did that for a lot of the young guys on the tail end of my career. But when I first got over there, I really didn't have that type of veteran because all of the guys that were around, we were all the same age. So we were all
yeah,
familiar, so none of us really knew. So, but to have that veteran presence, that is like the absolute best because it helped you appreciate, but still work hard, but still
yeah,
appreciate all that you're doing because it can get lost in the whole search for the NBA thing. Man, playing overseas is, I mean, one, you're doing what you love to do. You're getting
yeah.
paid for what you love to do, but you're seeing a lot more. You're actually seeing a lot more culture. You're learning a lot more things being an overseas basketball player.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So
Like I was saying, in Cyprus, yeah, like you said, how everybody was around the same age. Everybody was around the same age besides that one vet, and like he took me under his wing. He was like, so I like it's just crazy how it worked. Like, everybody else was around the same age, trying to get where they need to go, and we're all thinking, all right, we have this. This is to get us here. So people were playing for stats. Other people were doing this, blah blah blah. He was like, he brought us together because he was the vet in the room, and he had all the experience. So he was like, playing individual ball isn't going to get you anywhere. Blah blah blah. This that, and so his name is Aaron Petaway. I really appreciate it. I still keep up with him.
Nice. That's what's up. Now, me, that's the way that I train you. I know what kind of work ethic you got. So I know you work harder than pretty much any of my clients that I have. So I always appreciate that. But
Appreciate it.
what is it that drives you to keep your work ethic the way it is, regardless of whether it's successful or whether you had a setback? What's the thing that really helps you to focus and keep that extreme hard work ethic, regardless of the situation that you're faced?
The goal that I'm chasing is still the goal. And you usually hear, like when I was younger, probably teenager and stuff, you always heard people like, "Oh, I could have did this or I could have did that or whatever." And you're like, "Yeah, okay." And now like as you're aging, you're like, "Yo, I could still do it." So now I understand some of them were just talking. But
Right.
I understand where some of them like, yo, like you gotta believe in yourself. Some people call you crazy, but hey, you got to be crazy enough to chase what you go. So my goal's always been to get to the NBA, and then working out, pushing myself to different limits. And when me and him used to work out, he used to push me. He used to push me to see if I would ever break. So it would be some drills and stuff that I don't even think he could have did, but it was just to see if I was gonna fold. So I remember one time it was during the NBA lockout, and so we would go to the Knicks facility all the time, work out, and then it was my cousin Steve and my teammate Joe from Niagara, and Steve went back to the Bronx, Joe went back to Niagara to like visit people. So now it's just me and my dad. And that was I texted him right after the workout, like, yo, I hate y'all because he had me do like all full court stuff. It's different from a college court. Doing all that, I'm doing the drills, and then at the end, he has me shoot free throws. I shot free throws, and he was like, give me 10, 10. So I did that sprint, and he was like, all right, shoot some more free throws. I shot that. All right, give me more 10. So now I'm doing it. Now my legs, after a hard workout, now my legs is feeling like Joe. So now I'm shooting more free throws. He was like, all right, do it for your grandmother. Ram, do it for your nana. Do it
Nice.
for your grandfather. He was like, do it for your mom. Do it for me. Do it for yourself. So now, like, I'm doing all these sprints, and he start laughing because I'm running as hard as I can. But once it gets to a point where it looks like you're actually like, if somebody else is looking, it looks like you're just walking, jogging. But I'm trying as hard. So he's laughing over there, but I'm going as hard as I can. And he was like, you know what? I know you'll never quit. After this, like I pushed you to see how far you would go, and I know you never quit because you kept going. So, like that always
Absolutely.
stays in my mind where any hard days or whatever, I like, you know what? I could still do it. I could still like it's another gear that everybody has that you just got to push through. So that
Absolutely.
always motivates me between trying to make it to the NBA to workouts with my dad, you having me do all the star shooting full courts and everything. Like, all right, I'm gonna just keep pushing through it. I gotta, what's the worst that can happen is I gotta finish. Like if I pass out, I pass out. It is what it is. So you gotta like push yourself where you really wanna go all out. Like I'm willing to die for what I wanna get. So that's really how I feel.
I love it, love it, love it. Oh man, because that's what it takes, that chip on the shoulder. Like every little setback actually would push me to go even harder. Like this one,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do it. So I really like that you touched on, like people say, oh, you crazy for doing this, oh, you doing this, and we going here. But you decided, look, this is what I want to do. I'm going to work today. Y'all can have it fun. I can have my fun later on, but I'm going to work
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
that's, and you're going to be called crazy, you're going to be called a lot of things. But end of the day, look what you've achieved.
Yeah.
Yes, you have more to go, but you've already achieved a lot and got more to go. So beautiful. Loved it, loved it, loved it, love it, love it, love it. So now that you healed from the Achilles, what's next for you?
So I just signed a deal to go to Dominican Republic to play in this league. It's like 10 games and then playoffs, but it's to really, show that I'm back healthy. A lot of teams, when I was talking to my agents, a lot of teams were interested, especially seeing how I played in the winter leagues out here. They were interested, but overseas they'll see it, but they're like, "Is he still in shape?" Yeah, you just watch me play, but everybody's like, "All right, let me, you gotta, find something, an opportunity that opens up just to show that, all right, I'm back, I'm ready." So everybody's like, "Oh, DR, like I never been there." Obviously you hear all the stuff, beautiful women, all that weather, but I'm like, no, I'm there for a reason. Like it's to show that I didn't lose a step and I'm actually better. So that's my main focus.
Exactly. See, good to hear. See, you're already going in with your head in the right place because it's basically going to be like a showcase for you. Because I mean, you have
Mm-hmm.
10 games to show that you still, that the Achilles injury is totally healed and not affecting you anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
get back into the swing of things. And it's pretty much a show and prove, even though it's just weird. Some people get that chance and they could just come right in and get it, and you got others who
Yeah.
got to work and hard, earn everything. And I was one of those, but at the same time, I really didn't mind because I knew working, I'm earning it. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
and you said like you going under that same boat. So you got 10 game, show what you got to do. And it's at a perfect time because seasons, it's summertime is coming in, seasons are over. So it'll have
Yep.
you prepared for your next season. They say, okay, he's good to go. Let's get this contract out. And you continue to do what you were doing before and then actually up the level a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like the grind that we were going through. I was like, now my I know for a fact my percentages and shooting from different areas has increased, and I give that props to you for getting me going, making sure my shot was right, having me do all game reps. So you know it was like I said, when you're playing in a professional, you jump in from a different season to different season, you don't really get that time, that break to really develop your game like you want to. But this is, I call it like a blessing. Like, people are like, oh, like back in the day, the Achilles, you hear Achilles and like you're done.
Right.
Now, like thanks to science and everything, um, the thing that really made me happy was my doctor in Jordan. And before he was doing the surgery, he like the first conversation we had, he mentioned Kobe, he mentioned Kevin Durant, Clay. I was like, okay, he knows the people that I like, and he like, so, and he said he played ball and he ruptured his Achilles. So he was familiar with the injury. So it made me feel
Wow.
real comfortable.
That helped. Yeah, that
Yeah.
helps a lot. Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty, hey, man, that's actually real good, man. That actually, because it's different, like, you being a doctor, but
Mm-hmm.
having that injury, you know exactly what it entails. Like there's certain movements that you no longer able to make until, you get fully healed. And then
Yep.
once you get healed, now do I have that same explosiveness? Do I have the same flexibility? So you have to have all those things to be able to show that you're fully healthy and ready to go. And having a doctor that's been through it is extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Now they understand it a little better instead of just telling you things that they don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then from there, when I got back home, um, I got connected to Dr. Amali, who did Kevin Durant's surgery and all that. So I went from having a person that knew it, went through the sport, and then from that to somebody that got one of the best players in the league back to where he was. And he's familiar with all types of injuries and everything. Like
Wow.
any ankle, any type of injury, they go straight to him. So I felt comfortable, obviously, with him seeing his work already. So he saw it and he saw how they did it. And he was like, oh, they did a great job. And I had to go into, cleaned it out after that championship game that I played really well with. He was like,
Right.
you know what? I see like how it's growing. Like somehow my skin infused with the material. And he was like, you can leave it like that. And, maybe in the future, it may give you like, bother you, or you could clean it out now where you don't have to worry about it. I was like, obviously, I have to clean it out.
Right.
So that like, it didn't set me back, but just made the recovery a little longer because I think if I didn't have to do anything, I would have probably went into season earlier. But like I said, God always has a plan. So
Absolutely.
it wasn't my time to go right away, and now I'm more confident, and so yeah, I'm ready. I can't wait for the opportunity. You know, you have the nerves and everything because it's been over a year to play professional. Like I've been playing, but
Mhm.
I'm ready.
Hey man, that is the big time blessing that things just lined up. Even though it was a setback, it was an injury, but you kept your mentality strong, and then look how things lined up. Like you said, you had the surgeon in Jordan, then you got to work with Kevin Durant's guy, and then now you have your opportunity in the Dominican
Mm-hmm.
Republic. So all the things are lined up now. Now it's just time for you to take that by the hand, take it by the neck, and ring it and make the best out of your opportunity, which I know you will do because I've known you since you were, snaggletooth running around Madison Square Garden. So,
Yeah.
but definitely is definitely great having you on. Before you get out of here, though, you have any social medias or anything, any type of news you want people to follow to keep up with you?
Oh yeah, they can follow me on my Instagram is Antoine _Mason 14. So ANTOINE _MASON 14 on Instagram. Twitter, I think is the same thing as well. I'm mostly on Instagram. So yeah, those are my two main social medias that I'd be using.
All right. Well, everybody, make sure you keep up with my man Antoine as he continues on his journey, and he'll post things here and there for you to keep up. And as you actually, if you can, I don't know, sometimes make sure you start sending those links out. So even if
Oh yeah.
you're having games, put them on your social media. Just send the link out. This is where I'm gonna be playing, da 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 da. Or if it's Facebook or Twitter, and that way people can actually start watching, even from
Mhm.
anywhere. I mean, if you start with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, it doesn't even matter. Just make sure you get it out there so everybody can start watching and keeping up with you.
Yeah, I will. I
All right.
appreciate you all.
Appreciate you coming
Thank you
on
for
today,
having me.
man. Everybody, welcome Anthony Mason, his son, Antoine Mason, who's now his own man now.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Have a good one, my man.
Thank you. All love.
Definitely.